tax coffers are going to shrink. People are going to stop investing. People are going to stop wanting to open up a new business, and we're going to have negative numbers in our economy. It's unfortunate, and the midterms can come soon enough.
Now on Voices of Reason, I'm pleased to be joined by Representative Danilo Burgos, the first Dominican American to be elected to the Pennsylvania General Assembly. He currently serves as chairman of the House Consumer Protection, Technology, and Utilities Committee, is a member of the board of directors of the Minority Business Development Authority, and also serves as director of Latino Vote at the National Hispanic Caucus for state legislatures. Representative Burgos, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Steve.
One of the things I wanted to ask about that's really become, I think, much more recognizable to all Pennsylvanians in the 2024 election cycle, the power of the Latino vote, particularly along what I guess is referred to as the Latino corridor between Lancaster, Reading, and Allentown. Pennsylvania has nearly 1.1 million Latinos. Why are we just learning about this now?
Well, because in past years there weren't really any classifications, any considerable classifications of ethnic groups, and was thanks to programs like DEI and other initiatives to make sure that people were accounted for and identified properly. Uh, Now we're able to identify ethnically groups that are participating and helping Pennsylvania grow.
I noticed certainly a lot of political pundits mentioned that during 2024, the Republicans have been very effective in gaining ground politically among Latino men. Is that something that they just felt that the Republicans were offering more, or they feel basically that Democrats hadn't, I guess, fulfilled the promise of voting Democrat?
Well, a number of different combinations. Unfortunately, uh, the Republicans, specifically MAGA, had the best ground game. They identified, they set up shop early across Pennsylvania, and specifically in Reading, Pennsylvania, where they had President Trump had one of his headquarters uh, there, and Democrats were late to the game.
You mentioned that federal Republican lawmakers continue to attack the weakest part of our communities on every level of public policy. Is that something that you're beginning to hear perhaps from constituents and other members of the Latino caucus, that the fact that you voted for Trump and the Trump administration, they're not delivering on what they promised you as well?
Yes, specifically in the Latino community, you're hearing you're seeing a lot of buyer's remorse when it comes to business owners, when it comes specifically to people that are mixed status families that have family members that thought they were on going to be on a pathway to being legalized, having been able to be a legal resident, and they found out the hard way that that's not what they intended. Uh, the Republicans and President Trump lied to us. They're deporting people like they have done something wrong in this country, and they haven't. A lot of these people that are here undocumented are here because of American policies in their respective countries.
Right.
That's something that we continue to overlook as a community, and we continue to undermine the contributions that Latinos make across Pennsylvania. We must remember that in the 2020 census, we were supposed to lose two congressional seats that will be devastating to rural areas in Pennsylvania because they would receive less government funding. But thanks to the positive Latino migration, immigration into Pennsylvania, we were able to retain, only lose one seat of the two congressional seats that we were supposed to lose, and it would have meant devastating. Some of these towns would have meant you would have had less police officers in your town, less volunteer fire departments, less public assistance for mental health issues, which is not just the Philadelphia problem, but it's problem in towns across Pennsylvania, particularly company towns.
Well, let me ask you a little bit more about the immigration. So, last week, the U.S. Supreme Court overturned a federal judge's order prohibiting federal agents in Los Angeles from questioning people with their immigration status based solely on ethnicity and appearance, racial profiling. What kind of impact is this going to have in Pennsylvania?
It's gonna make our streets less secure. You're going to have officers that unfortunately they're going to um, racially profile people, which now it's legal to do so, and it's only going to have negative consequences across Pennsylvania, from whether in a rural town to a big town like Philadelphia.
Is there anything that the Pennsylvania Latino Caucus can do to improve the situation in the Commonwealth, or are we kind of beholden to what's happening at the federal level?
We're having informational sessions with local authorities across Pennsylvania, and where we are discussing interactions with immigrant communities. We need to make sure that they feel safe. Pennsylvania has been losing population year after year consistently. This means that we will continue to lose resources for all of Pennsylvania, not just for Philadelphia, but
Right.
for all of Pennsylvania, and particularly our rural areas that have been in the negative consistently and are projected to continue to lose populations in the future. If we're not proactive, we're going to continue to shrink our tax base, and it's going to hurt all of us. It's going to mean higher taxes for all of us.
And we continue to talk about that as you look at, as you mentioned, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania losing its electoral status. Certainly, it's the biggest swing state in the country, but as we continue to lose population,
Yes,
losing the revenue, and that's going to create the issues that we're certainly having with the state budget that I want to get to in a moment. But I noticed also that I don't think a lot of people know, it's nearly one in every four new small businesses in America is Hispanic owned. How does the passage of the one big beautiful bill, if you will, impact Latino communities if 25% of all new small businesses are Hispanic owned?
that means that our tax coffers are going to shrink because they're as the federal government continues to target Latino communities. People are going to stop investing. People are going to stop wanting to open up a new business, meaning our GDP is not going to go anywhere but down in a downward spiral, and it's going to be very unfortunate for all of our communities. Um, President is banking on these tariffs that are supposed to be bringing in X amount of millions, but if businesses are not growing and they're not, people aren't getting hired, that means we're going negative, and we're going to have negative numbers in our economy. It's unfortunate, and the midterms can come soon enough.
As you look at the state budget right now, State House has passed the budget request from Governor Shapiro. We're still hung up in the state Senate as of this recording. Uh, what what progress? What's holding it up in your mind right now? Why can't we get this solved after 70 plus days?
Well, Senator Pittman is acting like an extension to President Trump, like President Trump did before the 2024 election, where he intervened and prohibited members of Congress from going to work with President Biden and coming up with a immigration plan that will solve the border problem. They did was throw their hands up in the air, claim the sky is falling, point fingers, and provide zero solutions to the problem that we have at hand, other than organized chaos that they obviously benefit from. Um, but tax-paying people do not benefit from that type of leadership. It's unfortunate that Senator Pittman, Senator Pittman, Leader Pittman, has decided to go down that route, and it's very unfortunate. As far as I understand, my leadership has been at the table, willing to collaborate, to compromise, and everything that he just says knows how to say is no. He threw a tantrum a few days ago around when his community needed help. We weren't there. I don't believe that's accurate, but that's the type of political rhetoric that we have in our world today, and it's affecting every Pennsylvania. School districts are not going to be able to make their payments. They're going to have to borrow money to make their payrolls and their economic obligations, and that's not leadership. Senator Pittman needs to come to the table with an honest plan, and 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 let's move forward.
Think a lot of people around the Commonwealth, especially if you're not located in either Philadelphia or Pittsburgh, may not quite grasp how important SEPTA or Pittsburgh Regional Transit is to those two metro areas. How important, I mean, now that it has been settled and figured out a way to uh, keep SEPTA funded for the next 2 years, how important is SEPTA to the Philadelphia region?
It's extremely important, particularly in communities like mine, where a lot of my constituents rely on public transportation to get to their jobs. It's an economic engine. Um, People don't not too many people have cars here and in the city in my area, and they rely on SEPTA to go to work. They rely on SEPTA to go to doctor's appointments. They rely on SEPTA to um, visit different parts of our city, and all that is an economic generator that uh, Senator Pittman doesn't see the value in it. But anytime his area needs any funding, it comes either from the Allegheny County or Philadelphia region. It's unfortunate that he's stuck on just pointing fingers and not working on the how can we get things done.
You mentioned how important it is for the 2026 midterms to come around. What kind of work is the Pennsylvania Latino Caucus doing to prepare for what will be 25 Senate seats, where we have 203 legislative seats, and also the race for the Pennsylvania governor, not only to try to keep the majority in Democratic hands in the House, but also perhaps flip the Senate?
Educating our voters, uh, showing people uh, some of the good work that we have done at the House of Representatives, and particularly when it comes to Chairwoman Cepeda's bill, where it allows for teachers to be certified that aren't U.S. citizens. In Pennsylvania, we have a law that required Pennsylvanians to be a United States citizen in order to be a teacher. In this day and age, Pennsylvanians aren't each other's enemies. They never have, they never will be. Our enemies are beyond Pennsylvania. And we need to come to the table, continue to work collectively so that we understand that us working together means a stronger Pennsylvania.
I'll get you out of here on this one. Things that the Latino community, the Latino caucus are doing perhaps behind the scenes, things that aren't as noticeable to champion the cause, to get the word out, to, as you said, to educate, things that we should know about.
Going into full areas that are 100% Republican and speaking with people on the ground, speaking with the leadership in those areas, and helping them understand that Latinos are here contributing and helping us grow. They're not here taking anything from anyone. On the contrary, too many of of the undocumented population pay taxes, pay state and federal taxes, and because of the unwillingness of the federal government to give them a path to normalize, uh, these community members that have been in our communities for, in some cases, for over 30, 20 years, to be able to invest locally, to be able to contribute to the municipal coffers. Um, we need to make sure that they can stay in our communities so that our communities continue to flourish and grow. This attack on undocumented people that have committed no crimes other than civil infractions, it's unfortunate and it's totally un-American. I implore my fellow Pennsylvanians to that those of you that believe that no one undocumented has any space in Pennsylvania, to reconsider your position from at a minimum from a human point of view.
Representative Danilo Burgos of the 197th Legislative District, thank you so much today for joining us on Voices of Reason.
Thank you, Steve.